All right, I just wanted to say thank you for coming in today. I had a couple of questions to start off with. Does anybody here use social media?
I do.
Got three? Yep. Does anybody use it quite often, say every other day, every day?
Yeah, every day.
Same people? Now I have another question. Can you go through this speech or this presentation without checking your phones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends on if it's long or not.
Well, a study done by Aaron Smith and Monica Anderson, 7 in 10 Americans use social media to connect with one another, engage with news content, share info, and entertain themselves. After doing some research about the overuse of social media, I'm starting to agree with the research that there is an overusage of social media. That will bring us into our topic today. The overuse of social media is detrimental to society because it leads to negative personal feelings, causing effects for individuals lasting their entire lives and them needing treatment or intervention. To begin, I will talk about the negative feelings that overuse of social media causes. One of them is depression, and I'll discuss that first. I have a friend, and I noticed that comparing me and her, the difference, she is a lot happier with her life. She hardly ever uses social media. She is just happier with her life. She knows where her support is from her friends and family, and she's not comparing her life to what she's seeing on social media. She's very content being in her own life. She's I feel as if she's successful like that. Shensa and some colleagues of hers, they did a study, group analysis about people that were overusing social media. They wanted to see the difference between social media users on how often they used. They finally figured out that the people that were wired and connected, they were at most risk for depression and anxiety, versus the users that maybe used every 3 days or once a week. They didn't use as often. They were not at risk at all for neither depression or anxiety. The other feeling that is caused from the overuse of social media is anxiety. According to a research that was done in the Connecticut's Children's Hospital back in 2017, they figured that the higher the use of social media, the greater the anxiety. And they discovered that the anxiety was so severe that they had probable anxiety disorders. They noticed that they took the cell phones away, how often they were using, they just felt anxious that they couldn't use the phone or use social media to check their updates. They also, higher social media users, they just become obsessive. They become obsessed over the phone. Where's the phone? They become obsessed with checking the updates. So now that I've talked about the negative feelings that social media has, overusing social media, I'm going to discuss the effects that it has on individuals' lives. Now, I looked into some research that was done in the UK from a public health research, and they had figured basically these social media users are dissatisfied with their life, and that's the problem. Is they're having these negative feelings, and now they're having dissatisfaction with their own personal lives. And that's why I mentioned my friend Carolyn, because she is happy with her life. She's not on social media. The people that are being on social media, they're dissatisfied with their life, and UK, they noticed that social media users are having real life connections and seeking connectedness through social media. So they're not having relationships in person, so they're having the relationships online. The other thing that was noticed in a different study from Shensa and her colleagues, that people were using their social media platforms to replace to replace their disappointing lives. They are dissatisfied with their life. How they're feeling internally, they're using it on social media now. They're portraying it on social media. Now I'm going to continue with talking about the young people. I feel like this is a very big issue for our young learning generation, because if this is just a broad spectrum saying that social media users are dissatisfied with their life now, let's look at how it's affecting the young people. Shensa and her colleagues, in their research, they noticed that people are having less in-person social interactions, that they were having these negative online experiences, decreased attention spans, and it was because they were overusing social media. The other thing that she noticed in her research with young adults overusing social media is that they have low academic grades, substance abuse, and sometimes suicide. Now that I've discussed what the effects are on the society with overusing social media, I'm going to talk about the solution to prevent these problems. The first thing is we can have pop-up warnings. In the UK, they noticed that 7 in 10 young people agree to having pop-up warnings. Pop-up warnings, basically, they'll pop up and they will give you information to help you seek treatment, and they will also give you like a warning when you're reaching a harmful level of overusing social media. These pop-up warnings are just kind of like the volume warnings. Like if you get warnings that are saying, hey, you're listening too loud, it's going to be something similar to that. When you're overusing, you get a pop-up warning, and then you decide, do I want to keep using or not? The other thing is to seek a doctor. A lot of people are not really into noting that they have a mental health problem. So seek a doctor, talk to someone that you feel comfortable with to explain your feelings. If you notice things are a little off, maybe you're sad more so, or you're getting that anxious feeling that I want to check the phone, I want to check the phone, I want to check the phone. Now that I've discussed the preventions or the interventions that you can have for social media overuse, I'm going to conclude. I wanted to conclude and say that social media use is detrimental to society because it's causing negative feelings and it has effects on individuals' lives, leading to need intervention. And Shensa and her colleagues, they say that they found in their research rates for both depression and anxiety are disproportionately high among women, individuals of low socioeconomic status, and emerging adults. How would life be without social media?
I think that would be better. Because